Wait, is it live?
You are live
Oh,
now.
I am live. All right. Hey guys, welcome to Talking About It Live. I'm Ashlee, and I've got Mike here with me today. And we just want to, we'll give a little bit of time to see if we got people logging in. But I'm excited for today's show. We'll have Amber Banda jumping in. I keep saying jumping because I'm trying to say hopping and jump on at the same time. I did that earlier. But anyway, yeah, so she'll be hopping on here in a little bit at about 7 or so. So if you have questions, please put them in the chat on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever else you're streaming from. We'll be able to see them. I believe on YouTube as well.
Yes, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Okay. And so today we'll just be talking about, mental health, stigma, breaking the stigma, some of the topics that we typically talk about on our recorded show, but live with you guys. And I also got a great response. Thank you to those who responded and asked questions. We had quite a few questions, which is like super exciting for me because that means that y'all are paying attention and are interested in what we're saying. So thank you for you guys doing that. Um, yeah. Mike, you good?
I am good. How are you doing today?
I am doing. So I got the background. This is more so how it will be now. I just got to figure out the lighting. I don't know how you do with the lighting. Like it's so bright in here.
Well, I think that's the thing too. That's why I'm always wearing a cap. Is I have a light like right in front. You can see like whenever I look up, everything is
Yeah,
lit perfectly, but it bothers me. So I have to have like the hat on, so I'm not looking directly into the light.
into the light. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Same. Well, I got my shades on, so in case it gets too much, I'll be able to put them on.
She's got her stunner shades on.
Yeah. Maybe I should just make it like a Maybe I should just make it like a regular thing and just start with them on. And I do get this question a lot on Instagram is why do I wear sunglasses on the show? It's not because I think I'm super cool or I wear my sunglasses at night type of thing. It's because I am so sensitive to the light, especially when I'm feeling anxious or anything like that. I just get super sensitive to the light. So I'll put on my sunglasses if I feel like overwhelmed. Or in this case today, it's just the light is so bright that and you guys can actually see the reflection in it. Anyway, all right. I was hoping we were gonna get oh yeah, so while we're waiting to tonight, it's Tuesday. Tonight there's actually so for my El Paso people, SISD Board of Trustees, if you all have been following along, um, we've been really involved in getting education is very important to me. Yes, even though my kids are homeschooled or did online public school, I still care about what's going on in the districts around. And that is because your all's kids still go to those schools and the districts. And I'm not just about things that are affecting me. I want to address things that are affecting everybody around. So SISD is actually having a board of trustees meeting as we speak, I believe. And so we are going to be having on one of our trustees and one of our uh, favorite people, Ryan Woodcraft, on. So we'll be having him on tomorrow. I'm not sure. I guess we'll decide if we're going to just do a 2 episode or if it'll come out next week. But there's some great information that's on the agenda today for them. They have budget stuff that they're going to be talking about, SPED classes that they're opening up at O'Shea Keller, just a wide variety of things. So we'll be having a Ryan come on so that we can discuss and get your guys's like let you know what's going on in that forefront. Also attached to education, El Paso people. We did have Melvin Milton on. He was a candidate for EPISD Board of Trustees. And EPISD seems to be having a little bit of a different issue when it comes to how their board was selected, things like that. And I won't get into that too much because I'm not very familiar with it. However, Melvin Milton did let me know, and he tagged me on a post. So for you EPISD peeps, this is important for you. But I guess at Andrus High School, they have been having, I believe it's like their football games and practices and things like that. And they're charging organizations 15,000, around 15,000 estimated, for them to use the facilities, and the facilities have not been updated. So there, you can go check out Melvin Milton on Facebook, and Melvin Milton EPTX on Instagram. He shows photos of inside where the, what is that stuff called? Like what schools have when you can press up the board,
Really?
like the drop ceiling, yeah, but then you have like those tiles. There's wires and stuff coming out of there. It's leaked. It's not updated at all. And so they're charging these organizations all of this money. So EPISD peeps, bring it to your board, ask the questions of transparency. If we're paying this much money to a school to use the facilities, why is it not being maintained? Where is that money going? And I think that's a very important point to bring up, especially when we're talking about school districts and funding and all of this, because that has across the board been a huge topic. So there's that. Very important. Melvin Milton EPTX on Instagram. So you can see the photos there. You can reach out to him if you have any questions or ideas on how to get these problems solved. I mean, we live in a time where sports bring in a lot of money to the schools, and some of these facilities should be updated. And I don't know if it's just because of the location, because it is in the Northeast. When Melvin was on, we did have a conversation about EPISD, but not all schools necessarily being routed the same. So yeah, that's very important. How does it apply to mental health? First of all, while this is a mental health podcast and I like to focus on it, it is still just an important topic that needs to be discussed and brought up. So it's not always going to be mental health focused, majority focus, but it is going to tie up to it. And if I am being honest, if you're worried about your kids when they're in school, that affects your mental health. So like I've said this before, like everything kind of ties in with mental health. Politics, elections, all of these things tie in because it affects you and your family. And, so it's important. So check
Yeah,
that out.
mental health isn't like a one size fits all type thing. It's like everything encompasses mental health.
For sure. Even the weather, just like me and you were just talking about right now. Like, I was talking to my daughter earlier and I'm like, I need to ask my therapist this, but we've talked about like seasonal depression. And
Mhm.
like, I truly feel like my seasonal depression, if it is a thing, is during the summertime. Like, I feel because I get so affected by the heat and discomfort that like I see people out at pool parties and hanging out, and I'm like, man, I wish I could go to that. But like, I know I'll be miserable. I know I'll get rash because it's too hot. Like, just all of these things, right? So I'm wondering, seasonal depression, is it only strictly like November through the holidays, or is it a thing where like in summertime it can affect you? Because I really feel like my mental is a little bit off during these times. Again, because I want my kids to go out and enjoy the sun and have summertime activities, but like for me, I won't participate because I'm like, it's way too hot.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess if it's like seasonal, it's just whatever season like people But I think it's obviously going to be associated more with like winter because of the holidays and stuff like that. But I think any season can be a bad season for anybody.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, I think if it is a thing, it would be this for me. And man, just the heat, I just can't with it. It also could be I'm in my 40s and like that's a whole different thing I'm learning now, just being a woman. And fuck. And it's funny because I'm one of those that like I see things on Instagram and it's like perimenopause this and ADHD this and ADD this and all of these things pop up and I'm like, dude, no, like it's just no, these are just like clickbaits and topics. And then like the more I'm like feeling symptoms and stuff and I'm talking to my primary, they're like, "Well, you are 44." I'm like, "Ah, okay." So my algorithm knows me better than me apparently.
That's what I was going to talk about. Like the algorithm kind of like gets you in a mood sometimes too. Like it really does dictate how you do certain things throughout like the day and everything like that. Like I was in a good mood and then like I got on TikTok, I started scrolling and stuff and like my TikTok leans a certain type of way, so I have like a lot of funny stuff on there. And then I started getting like the whole political stuff that was just starting to be like
Mm.
down my throat and I was like, "You know what, before I get mad, let me just go somewhere else." So I go on to like Instagram, and it starts the same way with like all the funny videos and stuff like that that I like. And then it goes back into the political stuff. I'm like, what are we doing, man? Like, I don't want this stuff. Like, what do I have to do to prove to you I don't want to see the political stuff today?
Exact and it's everywhere. Like you said TikTok, I'm on YouTube mostly. I spend most of my day on YouTube just listening to videos and watching stuff, and it's the same shit. I'll click on one little short and my whole day it's the same thing. It's like the same shit over and over and I'm like, dude, like I need a sliding scale where you can be like, kind of want this, but today I'm feeling more of this. And it's so funny because like when you update, I don't is it the same on TikTok? I don't really go on TikTok. It's too overwhelming for me.
Mhm.
But is it the same on TikTok? So like on YouTube, you can go and like refresh your feed and then whatever you were just looking up kind of goes to the top. Is TikTok like that or is it just whatever you're scrolling that's what's popping up?
It's more like reels. Like you can refresh it from time to time.
Mm.
It doesn't go to like the top or anything like that. It like you can but like you hit the home button again and it'll like refresh your entire feed.
Oh, okay, 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 yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. Like I said, I and that is actually a question that we received.
Ooh.
Let's hit it. In my and I have some really cute printed cards, y'all, that Linoleum Type Matters printed for me. And look, I use these giant legal size papers.
I was about to say, Jesus, you're talking about like being 44. I feel like you're blind now. Like, is that going to
I
happen to
don't
you? Like,
know.
I have to go get new glasses?
I don't know. I don't know. My eye doctor has been sending me texts that it's been over a year since my eyes have been
Uh,
checked. But whenever I like go get my eyes checked, I have like 20/20 vision. And so I don't know, it's just small font that I have and it also could just be like because I'm so over my eyes struggle with the lighting and stuff that it's the same with the font. Like I feel like I have to squint. But hang on, I want to find the question about social media because it does ask
so
about
in the
that.
comment section, Death in a Hoodie podcast says owning legal size paper shows your age.
Hey, that's all right, man. I'll take it. All the life, all the bullshit. I'll take these legal ass, big ass packs.
And then they go on to say, why don't you save it and type it and share it on a floppy disk?
Hey, the fact that you know what a floppy disk is shows your age, all right?
I was about to say, like, you're also going into the old age style if you're talking about a floppy disk.
If you're talking about a floppy disk, bro, that wasn't even I think the only floppy disk that I remember is like in the movie Big when they put it into like the I don't know, Mike, have you seen Big?
I have not.
Okay, that's another movie for your list.
So
But
we
yeah,
were
they
talking
put
about
the
this with Grizz the other day where it was like, well, how many movies have you seen? Fucking not many.
yeah. No, we're gonna change that and we're gonna like open your
Broaden horizons.
yeah.
Because like I was thinking about that too, right? Like I have a USB here, and I save a lot of things on a USB. But now I'm like, you could just transfer everything in like a Google Drive and like do all these other things. So I feel like now a USB is like old, outdated technology.
Oh, and I was just looking to get one to put the photos from my phone on there. I know you're gonna be like, I know Death in a Hoodie. You're gonna be like, just put that shit on the cloud.
I was about to say, like, you can easily, like, especially with you are one of those green bubble people. You can easily just put that on the cloud, like, put it into your Google Drives. I don't even know why you have stuff saved on your phone.
It's because I don't know how to work those things. My brain doesn't work that way. Like, I don't know. I just need to study it, I guess.
I
But
remember
yeah,
whenever I was young.
bro, I used to read the encyclopedia for fun.
Oh yeah,
Like,
not
I would just pick. So, like, that's the type of.
you're.
I
I mean,
need. I
you're
need
not.
notes and breakdowns. Like, I have a lot of. I give props and a lot of like. Yeah, just props to you guys who do your shows, and like, you might have just a general breakdown, but for me, like, I need like these notes and like talking points, because otherwise you guys are, if you've tuned in before and listened to some of my podcast, you'll hear a lot of ums and because my brain just does not process that information, especially when I'm anxious. So yeah.
Death and Hoodie saying, "LOL, it's all love. I'm just messing with y'all."
Oh no, dude. Yeah, so everybody, Death in a Hoodie podcast is a fantastic podcast. It's three siblings, and they just have some really amazing guests. They are younger. I believe Louis is the oldest, and it's just a funny, hilarious show.
Louis is at least 55. There's no way he's younger than that.
Hey, I saw him in that ring on the pillow fights, and I don't know, man.
Lost 2 out of 3. Did Death in the Hoodie.
There you go. But yeah, so you guys check them out. They're excellent podcasts. I love getting their clips. I think it was the one this morning, or the other one was Sunny figuring out that AI is artificial intelligence, and that shit just had me rolling. It's a great podcast, so you guys check them out. And guys, thank you for tuning into this live. I appreciate y'all.
He said, "Bro, I'm 31. Chill."
Jesus,
Man,
you're 31.
that's an old looking.
Yeah, but you're a dad of twins, Louis. So that right there uh adds like 5 years to your
He,
age.
he's just like me. He figured out the key to aging is look old whenever you're young.
Hey, look, I get told I look young all the time, and when I say my age, they're like, "You're not 44." I'm like,
He says
"Yeah,
his
yeah."
back does feel like it's 56 though. So at least we're all on the same page there.
I think mathematically we'll all end up at around the same number,
I'll
just
say
adding up all those different things.
my knees are at least 115.
I Have we gotten to that point? Have you guys gotten to that point yet? I don't know if you're old enough yet, but like when you sneeze, sometimes you'll like pull your neck, and it's just like one of those like, ugh, yeah, wait for it, man. It's coming, both of you.
So like I don't know if you remember who Sammy Sosa is, but he was a
I
basketball
do.
player. And like in one of his last seasons, he famously got on the injured list because he sneezed and strained his back. And like as I get older, like I am a violent sneezer. So I do feel like that's eventually gonna happen to me. It hasn't yet, knock on wood, it'll probably happen tonight because I've jinxed myself.
You jinx yourself.
But like I as a younger person, I was like, how the hell could anybody do that? Like how out of shape do you have to be? And then now that I'm like 41, I'm like, oh man, it's like right around the corner. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna yawn, and everything's just gonna go bad.
Dude, it's just bonkers. And it's so crazy too, because it's like, I don't know, I'm what, 6 months into being 44, and like shit pulls way easier than it did 6 months ago. So I don't know exactly what that's about, but yeah.
Wake
Um,
up with muscle strains.
dude. Also, it could be like all the cortisol levels and all of that stuff, because I have a ton of joint pain, I have a ton of headaches, and yeah, all that shit too. So it could be a combination of that, but I see my algorithm shows me people who are younger than me, and they're having these problems. So
That's why, like, going back to like social media and stuff like that, you'll see those things. And like for me, I'm always looking up remedies for like my back and my knees and stuff like that because I have it's a degenerative cartilage disorder thing that I have. So like I have like no cartilage in any of my joints. And
oh,
like I look up like all these little stretches and things like that that you can do for to help these out. I always see young people doing it. I'm like, you know what? If these young people have to do it, then it means I don't feel so bad.
Right? Also, I think too, like late 30s, oh, late 30s, and like we were more active, I feel like, than like the younger kids now. And I feel like so we had more years of like being physically active and stuff than they do nowadays. So I feel like they're feeling some of the things, but it's because they weren't as like active, or it can be the total opposite where they're like completely way too active. Like I see some of these kids doing these like football tournaments, baseball tournaments from like a young age, and it's like damn, like those athletes seriously put a lot of strain on their body. So I feel like it can be a combo.
And I also think about it like this: like we grew up in an age of like old school technology and stuff like that. Like you look at shoes now, and they're all comfortable and they care about your feet and like all this other stuff. Whenever we were kids, it was like go out there with these pieces of wood strapped to your feet and run.
Converse, aka Converse.
I was about to say all stars. Like
Yeah, dude.
I remember how many times I had to play basketball wearing like old school all stars, and this is like in the '90s, so I should have been wearing like Reeboks and Jordans. But I'm out there on like a concrete floor playing basketball with all stars,
Yeah.
zero support at all.
Even just walking in those now, it's like, fuck. I never had I never felt foot problems before either. Ugh, getting old. I will say it sucks physically sometimes, but you get to a place where it's just kind of like freeing because you have been through so much and you have seen through, like, you've been through so many things and you have all of this wisdom and you have all of these things. So, like, I'll deal with the physical stuff as opposed to like dating. Imagine dating now in these
God,
times. I couldn't even fucking imagine that, like I just couldn't imagine it. So I'll take my physical stuff and my old ass with the legal paper, and I'm happy
that's
with
what
that.
I'm saying. Like if like everything were to fall apart and I were to like become single tomorrow, I would be single the remainder of my life. Like there is no way you would catch
Agreed.
me on any of these apps, any of these things like that. Like I would be done. And like how Louis talking about like he's 31. Like I look back at my 30s is like, man, I had a great time in my 30s. Like I know a lot of people like for whatever reason they're afraid of aging. I embrace it. Like I love it. I love it. Like I always expected like I wouldn't be here at 41. So me to be here at 41 is like, hey, I'm on borrowed time anyway. Let's just push this thing to the limits.
Same, same. Like I went balls out my 20, well shit. I will say since like 15, 16, because that's when we used to start partying and drinking, going to Juarez, like crossing the border and just going to drink instead of going to school. So like yeah, it's just crazy. But for sure, like
Did you see the stuff with the Oklahoma City Thunder? Like it would remind me of this thing that I saw that like what's after us? Gen Z, right? Like Gen Z is drinking less than like millennials and Gen Xers were.
yeah.
And I saw like the Oklahoma City Thunder won the championship and they popped like 3 bottles of champagne and they left like all this beer still unopened and all that stuff. And I was like, man, if I had just won a championship, you could not stop me from how much alcohol I would consume.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, no, I think it's crazy. I think that they are, I mean, even just like championships prior to this, like you're saying, like, well, I don't know. I don't want to get into football, but the Eagles, they were popping bottles like everywhere.
Gross.
Maybe it just depends on where maybe it just depends on where you're at. But yeah, so I think getting older, I embrace it. I embrace and I am thankful for like the knowledge and everything that I've have gained. I used to look up to like OGs, and that's why for everything you'll see, like even with my other business, Wise OGs, like Weisenheimer's OGs. That's like been my thing, and it's because I embrace it and I'm grateful for it. And all of this mental bullshit that I've been going through and struggling with, if I can help anybody along the way to feel better or to know that, like, look, I'm in my 40s and I'm still in the thick of it, but there is help and there is a way through it. And so yeah, I'll take it. I couldn't be young in this time.
Death in a Hoodie saying that the reason why they don't drink as much, Gen Z doesn't drink as much as millennials and Gen X, is because they can't hang. They must have no. I go like the opposite. I think they saw us and all the mistakes we made, us coming home super drunk, and we're like, nah, I don't think I want that to be my life.
Yeah, and and the craziness. You know what I think is worse? And I don't know if Death in a Hoodie, if you're gonna be on for a moment, I don't know, Mike, if we can, if you want to send them a link, if they want to pop up, maybe you guys want to hop in for a moment. But yeah, so like, shit, I lost my train of thought. Oh, they drink less, but I feel like they party harder. Like they
I
do
don't
a
know.
whole lot of caffeine.
Oh well, yeah, caffeine. Like
I don't
it's
know.
because they're like,
For me,
I feel like I'm so old.
alcohol is much easier to deal with than caffeine. Like before we would used to drink like crazy and I would be all right. Drinking more than one Coke a day, I'm like, "Ugh, the jitters and all that. No, thanks, man.
I think that's what I was gonna say. Like I feel like I've gotten like super old now. This episode is making me realize that I'm ancient, and I'm
Bro,
like,
I'm
okay,
older than you. You're not that
well,
ancient.
well, you might be older than me, but like I'm a Clint Eastwood in Gran Torino, get off my lawn guy already. I think I've been that way for like 15 years. So
Same.
for me, it's like, you know what? I'm leaning into the fact that I'm going to be a crotchety old person whenever I get to that age. And like, I look at these ones, I'm like, they don't party as hard as we do. Like, sure, they
Mm-mm.
do all this, but I think it's like the stimulus, right? Like, they have a lot more stimulants than what we had, like with the
There
electronics, with
you go.
that stuff. Because again, like, we were so different, right? Like we were so lucky that we got to grow up without the internet and learn the internet at the same
At the
time.
same
So
time.
like we were like lucky in that aspect where we didn't rely on it as much as like these kids rely on it. Death in a Hoodie said, not in a place where I can stream, or he's not in a place where he can
Oh,
stream, but he
gotcha.
wanted to mention to y'all that I checked out your pod with Grizz and honestly love that y'all focus on men's mental health.
Thank you. Thank you guys. That for me is important. I know sometimes we get fixated on mental health is a linear thing. It's a woman's issue. It's this, it's that. I'm a woman. I'm only going to talk about women's health. And in my opinion, the way I see it is I'm here to help everyone. And I feel like it's important to spread the word to everyone. And men's health is important. And so, again, a shout out. Is it shot out or shout out? Okay, boomer. Shout out to Grizz, and to you, and to you, Mike, for sure. My daughter's in here with me, and she's trying to not laugh super loud. Anyway, thank you to Grizz and to you guys for opening up about your story and your struggles with mental health and being a part of breaking that stigma. And I really know that that episode is going to help somebody. And I'm so grateful for you guys to trust us in letting that out. So thanks for tuning into that one, Louis. I appreciate you. I see we have Miss. Your mic's not on, Mike.
Death in a Hoodie said that it felt comfort to know that others go through it. And our guest Amber Banda is here, so I'm going to go ahead and bring her in as well.
Hi, Amber.
Hey guys, yeah, I know the background's a little bit different. I'm gonna try and stay in focus, so I'm not like Homer, like hiding in the bushes.
It's funny because like I'll start feeling anxious. If you guys start seeing me just kind of slide down, it's because I'm getting anxious. Anxious. So
There
that's
has been
funny.
there have been some episodes with Ashlee where like she winds up finishing the show like around here.
Yeah.
Like you can only tell that she's there because you can see the pelitos.
It's the top of her eyes.
You just see the sunglasses. I'm trying. I need to get a better chair because I feel like this chair has like
Yeah,
it's a
it's the chair.
soft fabric. So like I like slide as it is, and then like yeah, it's just a whole thing. But I'm working on it. Yeah, I'm just trying to make it through shows sometimes just in complete
Get
panic
one of
mode and
those big Bosu balls, and that way you can, you'll practice on your posture at the same time. Like I've seen some people, they sit on those in the offices. I'm like, I don't think it's tall
oh
enough for my desk, but yeah, fitness hack.
I need fitness in my life. Maybe I wouldn't have so many like sneezing and pulling my neck if I had fitness in my life.
I don't think allergies has anything to do with fitness, but you could try it. How are you guys?
Thank
What did
you.
I walk into? What have you guys been talking about so far?
Being old. I'm
Ah,
getting
okay.
old.
I'm
That's
Getting
perfect
old.
then.
dominated the conversation. How like 1 minute you feel young, and the next minute you're like 147 years old.
Depends on who you're around, right? Like I put on my 90s nostalgia playlist for the gym earlier and I was like, I'm 39. Like, how does that happen? I still feel like the child. Like when they ask, you got to go get an adult. I'm like looking around. I'm like, damn it, that's me.
Right? You know what's one thing that's really cool that I've noticed is you said 90s nostalgia music and it made me think of like the Pie Sisters. They have music that is 90s. It sounds like 90s and I'm loving that. I there's some other ones I'm not good with band names. But
Oh,
there's
my
some that go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say my playlist this morning. They gave me some being an adult is intense. Being adult, I'm over it. Like I want a refund. They had like Matchbox 20 on there, Foo Fighters, Green Day, Hootie and the Blowfish, I only want to be with like songs I hadn't heard in years. And I'm
Mhm.
okay. When I'm in school and I couldn't remember all these facts, other than Y equals MX plus B, but then I haven't heard a song in over 10 years, and all of a sudden, like that, I got all the lyrics.
That happened to me on we were watching what's it called? Fubar with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a show on Netflix. And there's a song that they play. It's the Buffalo Stance. And I was sitting there and I was like playing a game on my phone, just kind of half listening. That song came out and I knew all the words. I have no
Yeah.
idea where those words came from. I looked it up. It came out like in 86. I was like, even like the little rap. And my husband's like, who sings that song? I was like, I have no idea.
No clue. That's not
I'll
important.
have to hear that song because that doesn't even sound familiar to me.
Yeah,
Right.
if you hear the I didn't know the name of it, but if you hear like the tune, I think you'll recognize it.
Ahmed, you
What I'm,
just said you knew
what
all the
I'm really
lyrics. What are
trying
the
to do,
lyrics?
I'll say what I'm really trying to do is
Girl.
get you to sing it.
Yeah, no, both of you. I
Yeah.
know. You see,
Sing
noob
it.
here
Sing it.
with two DJs, two radio professionals.
We're not singers.
I gotta find it so we gotta put it on because yeah, it's one of those it was one of those Amber, we had talked about memories before, and it was one of those files that just like
It opened a good one.
yes, it was a good one.
This guy says it's bills and responsibilities and not a lot of empathy, but you just have to pull through it. Tipton's music starts with the symphony.
I do like Beethoven's Fifth. Like that is one of my favorites. So I mean, I'm good with that. I do like some classical music, right? Like my introduction into radio was dealing at KTEP, right? So like they went from like classical stuff to like modern jazz and stuff like that. So I really got
Yeah.
full lesson in learning about all that stuff.
Hey, I
Ah.
trained some of my powerlifting moves to like Frank Sinatra. I like it's just whatever I'm in the mood for. And it's funny because Ashley, when we did our episode, we were talking about how like now, yeah, we have bills and maybe less empathy, but now we have the money to like celebrate and just enjoy. I was gonna say destroy. Enjoy what the way we couldn't when we were kids, because when we were kids, we were just trying to survive and stay out of the way. And now we
Yeah.
have money. It's like this is 40. Even better, we have them when we're 40.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
for real. I think and you can make these new memories with them, like again talking about algorithms. I get a lot of like 80s baby stuff and I was looking at a thing and it's like no better time to be alive or to be a kid and I'm thinking when I was that age though, I was in survival mode. So looking back at that picture, it makes me like it was the first time I looked at it and I was like, "Oh shit. Okay, yeah, like I'm glad I'm an adult now." And I can look
Yeah,
back on that and say playing Nintendo was cool as balls or you know what I mean? Like I think
yeah.
that it's I think that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, looking back into it, I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Well, with me, it's like like everyone was talking about Cardi B whenever she came out with WAP, right? And they're like, oh, this song is so vulgar and this and that. I'm like, Little Kim with how many licks? Like, that's what
Yep.
I was like
My
7
neck.
years old singing Freak Me by Silk. And I swear to God, that's probably the reason why my voice changed at such a young age is because I was listening to early 90s R&B talking about making love as like an 8-year-old.
Right? That's not your real voice.
I was
Except
just
the
listening.
lyrics change. The
The
lyrics
lyrics.
change as you get older. Now it's my neck, my back, my anxiety attack.
Right? No
It's different
shit.
now.
No shit. That's what I was talking about with like the Pie Sisters. They're younger and they have a lot of music coming out, and it's got that 90s vibe, but with like a positive message. Letting go of ego, being a lot like, so it's really cool to see the evolution of like these younger kids taking that genre of music and just making it a little more positive, because yeah, all our music is about like murder, death, kill, sex.
I don't know.
Like
I was
all
a
of
fan
it.
of Backstreet Boys, but yeah, I guess that also was,
I was say yeah, I
sex
didn't
in a
I
way.
wasn't
Yeah.
I mean, even they were like trying to
I'll say I want
Oh
it that
yeah.
way has a different meaning than what people think it does.
right?
Oh my God. Like when you look back and you see some of the jokes in movies or like some of the lyrics in songs, yeah, you're like, oh my God. And now, looking back as an adult.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so
Are
Amber,
the
thank you
80s
for
and
coming
huh?
in. Are the what? Let me see. See, I think
I
you're
was
so
reading a
good.
comment. Is
This
the
is how I
80s and 90s still the best music?
yes, I think so. I think
I think you got to
lyrically,
throw the early 2000s in there as well.
yeah, I agree.
Mm.
Early 2000s. I agree with that. I feel like uh lyrically it's crazy. It's just like not politically correct anymore. More than half of the songs in that genre. But the beats, I mean, like now you have these guys talking about AI. Like, didn't Timbaland sign like an AI artist or something like that? Like, yeah,
How do you sign an AI artist?
it's a thing.
You
Well,
pay
I
them.
actually did an interview with a guy named James Dupree, and he was the surrogate voice for oh my God, Randy Travis. Now, Randy Travis is a country singer, old
Yeah,
school, and he had a stroke
yeah.
and he can barely talk. But this guy that was on tour with him, he provided his I don't even know how it really. I mean, I read the article and I talked to the guy myself, and Randy Travis, it's released as Randy Travis, even though James Dupre was the one that provided these vocals
The
because
voice.
of AI, and
Oh,
he's even going on tour. I'm like, yeah, it's
it.
great, but it's also scary.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy, this evolution, and I'm here for it. I mean, a voice like Randy Travis. So I like 90s older country. That's like George Strait, Randy Travis, the old chill, like, let
Yeah,
shoot my dog, drive a truck,
My wife
drinking.
stole
drinking
my
whiskey.
There you
truck.
that's the kind of country that I listen to. When I hear the genres of country now, I feel like it's more pop-ish. And you were talking about nostalgia music too, and like the day that I was listening to 92.3 The Fox for something for oldies, and I think it was like Third Eye Blind came out on it, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Shut the front door.
Swear to God, I
When
was
I
like, "Nope, only on
when I
Sundays."
when I went to buy my motorcycle a few years ago, this was like 5 years ago, and I love the Foo Fighters. Everlong's like my favorite song, and they were playing the classic rock, and Everlong came on. I'm like that.
Mhm.
That's that's why I refuse to listen to that station because like whenever I first moved back to El Paso, I heard a song from like the 80s on like 92.3, which if you're not familiar with El Paso, that's like our classic rock station. I'm like a song from the 80s does not belong in the same genre station as Elvis and like all these other things, but like I've got
Mm.
to realize that was 40 years ago, man.
Oh
Like
my
that was
god.
it was a long time ago. And the look that both of y'all just gave me right now was like, damn. And
I
Really?
didn't feel old that whole time we were talking about feeling old until you just said that right
Tom,
there.
Tommy hit it
The math
right on
was not
the
mathing.
nail, right on the head. The Quiet Storm is what inspired me to like go into
Oh my God.
The Quiet
Yes, the
Storm.
Quiet
I
Storm
remember
on
that.
Power Note 2 when everyone was in their music video feels. Yeah.
Oh my god. Yes, I remember. What
I
was it
always
Patty
wanted
Reed? that hosted that at one point? I think
It
she
was
might have
Patty. It
probably
was
know
Patty
this because
Diaz,
she's my
Rhea
manager.
Thomas, and the very first one was Victor Starr. Was
Yeah, and I remember I used to start getting ready for bed and I either needed to have a TV or a radio. And yeah, that they would do like the rain sound in between. And
Mhm.
that was like so comforting. And then
Yes.
like you have all these, of course, they were all like love making songs.
Wait.
That
Night
we were listening to
90s
when we were like 8.
for sure.
Again,
Um,
like I said, that's the reason why I hit puberty so early in life was because I was listening to the Quiet Storm. I couldn't get
there
like I
you go.
couldn't wait to get there. And like I said, I always envisioned myself being that guy. Like coming up next on the Quiet Storm, let's give a shout out to Amber from her guy.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
you're like waiting.
Waiting for
Your
those
shout outs were so
requests.
cool. Uh-huh. There
Let me
was
can
the
also say
joke that
Victor Starr, damn, you're going way back. Victor Starr is the reason why I decided to get into radio. Like legitimately, that is the reason why I decided to get into radio.
oh wow.
Wow. See,
Like I
Why?
said,
I'm
I was
Like his
7 years
voice
old.
or you were seduced?
No, it was just like he seems so cool because like he did the Quiet Storm and he also did like an afternoon show. And like it just seemed like it was such a cool thing to do. Then he showed up to like my elementary school. I was like in 3rd grade. And I thought like being in radio was gonna be like the most amazing thing in the world. And I was that kid that like I would put tape on the bottom of the cassette and like I would like record stuff. So there's got to be a tape somewhere out there of like
Yep.
9-year-old Mike being like, "Hey everybody, listen to this song." Like
Oh
there's got
my,
to be something like that out there somewhere. Hopefully it
you have to
burned.
find it.
No, God, no.
when I have a I I wanted to be a radio DJ when I was younger as well. I feel like at that time that was like so like you're saying such a cool uh job, right? Cuz music then, we didn't have the streaming, we didn't have all of these things. So like music, radio and like uh movies for me were like what I lived by, what I would listen to and watch depending on my mood and would, so I think Mike, we're close to the same age. I'm still older, but we're close to the same age. And I feel like that I always wanted to be a radio DJ. I thought, holy shit, that would be so cool to just be able to listen to music all the time, play it, and to see that you both have done that. And I'm speaking to you guys. I'm having like a moment right now where I'm like, holy shit, like thank you guys for honoring me with like just allowing me to come on my show. You know what I mean? Like that's just fucking bonk. Like literally just like if there was a light bulb, boom, like
See,
that
like
just
Real
happened.
we kind of missed out on a little part of the thing. Like I got a little bit of this whenever I was at KTEP. So whenever I did a show, we actually had like the CDs and stuff like that, and we had like a 3-disc player, and you would have to load them up and get ready to like play them the way that you had to do that. So it was like actual DJ stuff. And then whenever I got to KLAQ, they had like the log. Amber knows all about the log. Like it's already preset music, like where you're gonna play it. But they always gave us a little bit of leeway. So what I would do whenever I did the overnight boards at KLAQ is I would let people call in and like request what they wanted to hear next, because as long as I hit the hard network out, which gave the station ID at the top of the hour, I was good. So I could like manipulate the music log as much as I wanted to at KLAQ. Like I wish that I could still be doing that stuff. That's how much I loved that stuff. And I'd be like, oh, shout out to the 3 people listening to KLAQ right now at this random place that's open at 3 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. Like that was always my favorite thing to do.
That's so cool that you guys have been able to do
cool.
that. Let's see, Augustine, were you there for the Big Bang? No, man, I was not there for the
For the
Big
creation of
Bang.
music.
For the
It was
right?
started by
No.
two rocks knocking together.
Right?
She remembers whenever ragtime. It was time for the next ragtime song.
I
Da,
wish we
da,
talked
da,
like
da,
that
da.
again. Oh, I
Man.
love that. Let's
You
see.
too.
I saw a thing and it was like I was born in the 1900s.
Oh man, I guess I
Imagine?
was too. I was born in
Yeah.
1986.
Yeah, I was
Jeez, I
born
don't like that
81.
phrasing though.
Mhm. It's crazy. But
We
yeah,
were
so
born in the late 1900s. It makes it seem like we were born with like black and white movie screens that they had to do like that back in the day.
it's so
You had to
crazy.
sit still for a picture for like 2 hours.
Right? Jesus. But so let's I do have some listener questions and we got some really great feedback questions. and I was super excited. That made me like happy. Because again, I'm learning all of this as I go. So like posting stories and asking for engagement and things like that, it's new to me. Maybe it's the trauma and everything, but I feel like I don't even want to ask for that because it's asking too much. And now I've gotten to a place where it's like, in order for me to be able to reach more people, help more people, get this podcast out to more people, I need to ask for engagement and things like that. So the fact that you all listened and, Mike and Amber, you guys shared it. And so it's a great thing that people were sending us some questions. So these are just general for all of us. So yeah, if you guys, let's see. So the first one, I have this big ass legal paper and I
Once you
still
get
can't
past the
read the
legal jargon.
question.
Well, and
Oh
I'm
my
glad
gosh.
people are engaging and listening. Like I'm really grateful for that.
Right? Yeah, it just I question a lot sometimes if what I'm doing is what I should be doing. And I'm on the heels of closing my business that I have, so my mixer business and my bar, that's I'm closing it up. So now I'm solely going to focus on this, and the reason being is we've had a really great how do you say the word? People have reached out to me and said that this has helped them out or helped them to reach out for help. And for me, um, y'all Gen Zers aren't drinking anyway, so it's pointless for me to be having a bar. So I'm just gonna focus my time on this. And so yeah, the engagement is really big. And again, for those listening and who are going to listen to this later, if you have people who are in your life and they are content creators or they own small businesses, share their post, like their post, put a comment under there. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps them to get up into their algorithm and to get to more people. So that's one way that we can help each other out, is just sharing the content, even if it's not for you. Maybe somebody in your life is going through something, and you share it and they find us. So yeah, but anyway, let me get to the questions because I did get quite a few of them, and I want to try to get as many as we can in. The first one is, how do you handle friends or family who don't get mental health or mental illness?
Me, honestly, I'll go first. I avoid them. I mean, you can't change people. The only thing you can change is how you react to them. My job is not to change your mind. My job is not to convince you what I'm doing is right or what I'm doing is this. The only time I'll pretty much speak up is, I've had family members, for example, one of my little nieces, she's like 8 or 9. He was making a comment about her body in a joking way. I said, don't do that. Because
Mhm.
again, I'm very I had an eating disorder
Yeah.
growing up, so I don't, what people now are okay with, like gordita, flaky, whatever. I don't like it because it's just, first of all, you know they internalize it. So, like, anyway, I'm not, that's a whole eating disorder, body dysmorphia tangent I don't want to go into unless it's a specific question, but I'll avoid them. I won't take my kids around people that don't respect my choices. To maybe with my daughters, I tell them, Mama, if you don't want to hug anyone, you don't want to hug your grandpa, you
Mm.
don't want to hug your tia, because your body's yours, you just don't feel like being touched, you don't. And for people that don't respect that, then they don't get to be around my kids. And so
Yeah.
my thing is, I practice avoidance. I practice, I will tell you once, maybe twice, depending on how much I like you. After that, I don't need you in my life. I have enough. I have who I need with me, and they understand and they respect my choices.
Yeah. I
So
agree. For you, Mike, go for it.
so with me, like what I do is like I always got to keep the same mindset, right? Like you control what you're able to control, right? So like my dad is 95 years old. He's not going to understand PTSD or any of this other stuff, and like I can't hold it against him because he grew up a completely different way than what I grew up, right? Like so for me it's like we're armed with the knowledge and stuff like that we have now. We accepted, people are different, people handle things different. Even though you had a similar situation, mentally you internalize things different than what other people did. So for me it's just control what you can control. Like my family is so big, and I'm kind of like with Amber in this one, like I avoid them anyway, and I'm not a hugger to begin with. Like it's a very small group of people that I will hug, like it's my kids and stuff like that. Like it's you got to be really close for me to get a hug from now and like time to time, or I've got to be just hammered drunk. Like those are the only times that's going to happen, right? But for me, it's just I control what I can control, right? I'm not going to let them manipulate me into a conversation. It's the same thing with like politics on Thanksgiving. I'm not going to get into that conversation. I'll change it real quick to like, oh look, the Dallas Cowboys are fucking horrible. Like that's kind of the way.
Hey, now.
I'll do those. They are. I love them, but they are.
He loves them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But like that's kind of the way that I go, right? Is like I'll try to go in and just if it's uncomfortable, make a little joke, try to change things around because Amber's right. You're never going to change anybody's mind. Like Gary says right now, you can't force people to think or act the way that you would like. Avoiding is a safe space for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think for myself, for people getting mental health, I think that what I try and do is I'll ask them, what don't you get about it? And like that is a new thing for me. Like, what don't you understand about it? Right. And I think that just comes from um homeschooling my kids. And I basically talk to people who don't understand mental health the way I would teach my kids a lesson or something. Like, so in order for me to understand, what don't you get? And a lot of what I hear or what I used to hear, I don't hear it so much anymore. And I've talked about this before, is pre-pandemic, it was always, oh, you have anxiety? Like, just get over it. Just keep your brain busy. Just clean, or, you need to do this or you need to do that. Post-pandemic, however, I had so many people reaching out to me saying, I never understood what it was that you were going through until now. And how are you getting through it? So like my first question is, what don't you understand about it? And then I try to, I'll say what it is, like, well, I have anxiety. I get overwhelmed very easily. My nervous system acts up. Or why don't you show up for places? How come you're ignoring me? How come this or how come that? And for me, I'll only go back and forth as much as I can handle. And it's usually not very much, but I at least try to understand. And I am in the same boat as both of you. I avoid a lot. And I don't think avoiding is the right word. I think avoiding seems like we're just kind of not dealing with it. I think it's more protecting ourselves and putting up boundaries. I think that's what the way that we should say it, right? We're not avoiding. We have our boundaries of our safe space. And if, like Amber, like what you said, if you can't respect that, then you don't deserve to be in my little bubble. And I'm okay with that, And if at any point you want to come into my life, then let's have a conversation. But if you don't get it and you're treating me or making me feel a type of way because you don't get it, then that's a you problem, right? That's basically what you guys are saying. It's a you problem. It's not something that we can handle or change, like you guys have said here.
And I also think that boundaries sometimes are put in place by people to keep people in their life, not to push them out. Look, I want to be with you, but don't talk about politics. I want to talk with you, but don't talk about my weight.
Got it. Yeah, and I guess it goes, but I guess it can go both ways. But the fact that we're even,
I put those boundaries around because I don't want to be around your ass. Like that's the way
Mine's a little picket fence. Yours is a big fortress. I mean,
right?
It depends who you're around.
Great Wall of China. Like that's what I've got.
Mine's like just one of those bubbles that's like completely around my house, completely around my person. I can see you and you can see in, but whether I allow you to cross that barrier, it's just like, no, it's just, yeah. So it's crazy. I mean, go ahead, Amber.
I was just going to say, I have an unwelcome mat on my house.
I saw one today. I saw one and it said, did you call first?
Yeah. And if you don't know my number, you can't be here.
You can't be here.
But I'm also the same way. Like if you call me, I'm not answering the phone. Like just text me. I don't want to talk to you. Just text. I could love you to death. But like there's maybe 5 people that I would answer the phone for if I saw them giving me a call. The rest of you, just give me a text. Like it'd just be, hey, you're good, and I'll be fine. Like I don't need a whole bunch of other stuff like that. I want to read a couple of the comments that are here real quick. Augustine Pimentel saying, I mean, you really can't control stuff. I have a saying, maybe it's dumb It's the following: I had a pet lizard named George. I hope you get that reference. I completely do not get that reference at all. Do y'all get that? A pet lizard named George?
It's
what was
sounding
the
familiar, but then again, those are a lot of familiar words.
Augustine is at least 197 years old, so his references come from like the 1700s.
Oh, so he's
Gary,
older than I am.
Gary Bryant saying, I find a lot of people with mental health issues having a lot of blind spots in many areas as it relates to socializing with people appropriately.
Yes.
That is a thing too. Like there is
Yes.
that issue.
And I think that is more because of sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that is not necessarily a blind spot as a protection. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It sounded like something turned off. It's like what do you call it? The horses when they're horse racing and they put like those, what are they, blinders?
Yeah.
So like your blind spot hits it right on the money. Like literally we just have to stay focused, especially if we're in the state of anxiety or if we're out in public and it's, overwhelming for us. We literally will just have that. And I think that learning how to communicate that at the time is something that takes work and it takes time, right? And it takes patience. But yeah, I totally agree with you with those blind spots. Like, and that's just because we have to have it to protect our peace.
Gary goes on to say, don't be around them, so no boundaries are needed to be built. And then Augustine saying, here's another saying that I like: if you have a problem, does it have a solution? Why worry? If it doesn't have a solution, why worry? One of my favorite ones is from the movie Van Wilder. Yes, of course, the movies that I watch are going to be stoner movies, where he's like, worrying's like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it gets you nowhere.
It gets you nowhere. Yep.
Yeah, it's true.
It is crazy. It is. Hey, Mike, you've seen movies. You've mentioned 2 movies since we've been on air. It was Gran Torino and Van Wilder.
Again, like the amount of movies I've seen is such a small amount of movies. Like a lot of stoner movies from the early 2000s and late 90s. Like I've seen How High at least 17,000 times. Right? Like
love
that's
that
one of
movie.
my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
And like Van Wilder, I've got a man crush on Ryan Reynolds. I haven't seen Deadpool, which is weird because I think that's like the most successful Ryan Reynolds movie. I just like I don't see a lot of superhero movies. I just haven't. But I grew up with
dude,
I fell in love
you
with
would love the new Deadpool Wolverine. Oh, that's
Did
one of
you
my
like that one,
favorite
Amber?
movies. I freaking love that one.
I literally just watched it. When did we watch Deadpool? We just watched it the other day, Sunday, I think. And I think I liked the first ones first. I didn't. I and my husband like loved this movie. It like put his 2 favorite things together, which is like those stupid funny movies like Super Troopers and then like the action movies. So like he loved it. He's like, that one's my favorite one. And I'm like, maybe I need to watch it again. But I liked that they brought back some characters. Spoiler alert, if you guys haven't seen it, they bring back some characters and it's just it's cool. I like Deadpool. I like Marvel movies. So yeah, but I literally just watched it. Mike, that one's gonna be on your list because I feel like Deadpool is one of those that has mental health kind of entwined in it. And that you'll get something out of it. But that's one of the ones that I do want to put on your list.
I've seen every Fast and Furious movie though.
Oh my gosh. Of course you have.
I haven't seen any of those.
Oh, you're missing out. Great acting. The best acting you'll ever see.
Oh my gosh.
Never won an
Oscar. Can't wait to miss that.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. And then let me put one more question out here. What's your mental health red flag that no one else notices? What's your mental health red flag that no one else notices? My face?
For me or on other people?
I don't know. It just says, what's your mental health red flag? I'm thinking for other people. What's your mental health? Well, like, yeah, I think let's just do what our red flag is. So like if they see this happening, they know, yo.
Steer
clear.
That,
I think so. I don't know. What's your mental health red flag no one else notices? I will say for me personally, I get this a lot out in public and from people who are close to me and people who don't know me as well is that they don't know anything's wrong with me because I'm not showing any physical, like I'm not limping, I don't have a crutch, I don't have a brace, I don't have any of these things. So for me, I think it's just my face is my red flag. Like it might also
It's a
seem that I'm
giveaway.
yeah, like I also think that it might seem like I don't want to have a conversation or I'm unfriendly or any of these things when it's just that I'm in my head. Like I had RBF before RBF was like a cute thing. I see that a lot now, like toxic. We're gonna have this again. Toxica and all that is like super cute. And the RBF stuff like that didn't used to be cute. That used to be seen as like, oh, stay away. And I feel like that's what mine is. Like I just have that face where it's just like I look mad all the time. And it's not that I'm mad. I'm just in my head thinking, I don't know. Whoever
Yeah,
put
no,
that
it makes
question
sense.
out, if you guys are on, if you message us, we can elaborate or clarify if that wasn't the answer.
I don't know if it's red flags per se. I guess like things that I notice since I did grow up abused as a kid, and I've always been hyper vigilant of the way people treat and talk and look at kids. I think that is one thing that I look at. Of course, like the first thing that came to mind is the way people treat the wait staff, but that's not like a secret one. Like most people know that if you treat the wait staff rudely or do this, snapping at them in the restaurant, to me, that's like, fuck, like, I don't want to fuck with you anymore. Like there's some things that they're just so, they seem like simple, but I just, nope, nope, nope. And when it comes to kids, I don't know. I guess, like, I'll give you an example. I was dating a guy years ago, and, he was all about me, all about me. And he would talk about his son, that the son didn't live here. Little boy, I think he was like 4 or 5. The mom took him, somewhere else. And then the little boy and the mom moved back. And the first day that the little boy was back, he wanted to spend the day with me. And to me, I'm like, your son is here. You keep saying you want to see him, but you want to be with me. Like, I'm not
Mm,
flattered. Like, to me, and I was a new mom at the time too. I was like, no, bye. And so red flags for me that I look at are just the way that they treat children, the way they talk about them, the way they look at kids, and just like piecing things together. I guess that would be my red flag in people.
yeah,
Yeah,
that wait staff one, I hadn't heard that one in forever.
oh no, for someone like me that used to be a waiter, that was one of the most, like, that's the rudest way you can try to get somebody's attention. Like, I got you, don't worry. I've got other people
Thank
that I need
you.
to talk to, right? Like
That's
it's
crazy.
yeah,
I
like I
Mhm.
was a waiter at a Mexican restaurant in Plainview, Texas. You could imagine how that went.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a fun
Mm.
time. But for me,
The
like,
hand up in the air with the snaps. Nope. Now I'm
or,
gonna
or
take longer.
they do the whole thing like you need to look at me. Like my buddy the other day,
Yes.
I've got nothing but love for my guy the other day, but the waitress was she was at like another table. And he's like, yoo-hoo, like doing this and that. I'm like, buddy, she's gonna come over here. She's got
Mm,
other people she needs to wait on. Like, you're not the only person in the world. And
Right.
like I was like that, to me, got me in such a bad mood. Like, to me, like I've got a quick trigger. Like, that's my red
yeah.
flag. Like, I gotta, like, I could be the happiest person in the world. You do one thing and I could be like, this fucking guy.
Mm,
Like, and I'll sit with me for the rest. Like, it just sits there and festers, right? Like, you've gotta do something with it. But like for me, it's the same thing. Like, I guess I've done this to myself, right? Where like I could be going through the worst day of my life and I will be jovial and I'll be happy and I'll be this and that, like just, suppressing everything like that. Like, that would be like my personal red flag that I have.
yeah.
But like Amber said, for me, it's about the way you treat people, the way you talk to people, right? Like for me,
Mhm.
one of the comments or a couple of the comments that I've seen, and I like Augustine. Augustine's a friend of mine, but a couple of those comments are just so off putting to me because it's like, we're trying to do something here. Why are we going this route? You know what I mean? Like what does it matter how hot somebody is based on their toxicity? Like, it's such a dumb comment to me. And it takes a lot out of me to not be like, look, dude, don't be a fucking asshole. But don't be a fucking asshole. Like, it's that simple. I got nothing but love for you. You already know that. But come on, guy. Like, it's those little things like that. Like, how you treat people is 100% in my mind the type of person you are. It shows people the type of person you are.
Okay.
Like, there's respect is like, I am a proponent, like, it's earned, not given. But
Mhm.
each person has a little bit of respect that you should give them, especially if you don't know who that person is. So why would you be so rude to them right off the bat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in
Yeah.
the restaurants, as well. I was a server for a little bit. Mostly I did hostessing. Um, and that's funny to me that that for you guys, that's such a thing. Like for me, I don't know if it was just something that I expected or just took as like part of the job, but I do remember like Hoven or like snapping the fingers and stuff. And that's just bonkers to me. Like that's crazy. Like I don't know if it was just another one of those things like, when we grow up in survival mode or we grow up in these things, you just kind of try to like, yes, I'll get to you. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, yeah. So when you guys said that one, I was like, oh, yeah. Like the more that
You
you're
know, now
explaining it to me,
now that you're saying it, I was a waitress for a while. It didn't actually bother me when I was a waitress because I was always like boom, 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 and like I'll get to you in a little bit. It didn't make me get there any faster. But now, as
right.
someone that as a patron, yeah, for whatever reason, it bothers me now not being a waitress.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that makes sense.
to me, it's like there's so much more going on in the world that you have to realize that you're not the center of the universe, right? Like the waiter is going to get to you whenever the waiter or waitress gets to you. Like it's you're a part of a rotation, and especially if it's a busy restaurant at the end of the day or like whatever's going on, they have, and especially if they're understaffed, like you don't know what the staffing situation is. Like you could be like, oh, there's only 15 tables
Mhm.
here, but that could also be the only waiter or waitress that's there that day. They got 15 tables. And trust me, if you were a
Yeah.
waiter or a waitress and you were having to deal with 15 tables, you'd get overwhelmed in a heartbeat. It's always the worst whenever you know you're understaffed on a busy day. So
Yeah.
like for me,
Oh, yeah.
that's like my baseline, right? Like unless the waiter is absolutely terrible, like they're rude or something like that, I always like tip well. Like that's always my thing is I'm always going to
Mhm.
tip well because I know what it's like to get that $2.15 an hour
Mm.
because it was that's what it was whenever I was a waiter. I don't know about you, Amber, but it wasn't very much
Yeah.
whenever I was a waiter.
I
And
think
that
it's still the
Yeah.
same.
the
I
the
think
the
it's
tip
still the
the
same.
tip was everything. Like it was your day, man.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
And
And
I,
you had
I
to work
think,
for it.
yeah. And I think too, the reason that it hits your nerves in a certain way is because you remember the feeling and how it made you feel. And so when you're seeing people do it to others, you don't want them to have that same feeling. And so I think that that's why it's even more of like one of those things where it's like, ugh, and I don't go out to eat at restaurants. So this is something to me that I don't like deal with anymore. I owned a restaurant and,
You're
and the
sick of them now.
bar. Yeah, and so it was like yeah, it's crazy, but I think that there's something to that, right? Whenever we see anything happening to other people, we try to protect them or we try to put up uh um I guess like protect them because we don't want them to feel the way that we feel, right? And I feel like that's how it is with a lot of things who people who have grown up in survival mode or have had trauma or have had PTSD is regardless of it was the child the CPTSD or the PTSD, you still have one thing that either happened to you repeatedly and you don't want other people to experience that feeling. And that is something that it gives us a deeper empathy, I feel like. I think we are more in tune with people and their feelings is because we're mirroring or we see
Mhm.
ourselves in it. I don't know if that makes any sense what I just said, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think yeah, it's crazy. Like
Makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
you guys opened up my brain to something. I wanted to hit back on Augustine because I'm barely reading what the comments are. Um but I kind of the whole hot let's see. So the comment is women's toxicity is oh man it went up higher.
Oh, a woman's toxicity correlates
Down.
to how hot
It's-
they are.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like that necessarily has anything to do with it. I feel like your next comments after that, when you talked about it being in the culture and being normalized, I think that's where the thing came out that it's a cute thing, is because I see people rocking it on their back of their license plates and on their mirrors and all of these things, and I think it's a culture thing, for sure. Where
Well, now it's looked at as like a positive, right?
that's what I'm
Like
saying,
that's
like
what
it's
I'm saying,
cute now. Like
yeah.
RBF used to be like one of these, there was not even a word for it. It was like, man, that bitch just looks mean, or like fucking smile. I remember my friends telling me like fucking smile. Like, like it wasn't a cute thing back then. It made you unapproachable. And now with social media and with these things, I think culturally it has changed where and we've talked about this a little bit before, where all of these negative things are now glorified. Like it's flip-flopped in a way where I don't think is cute. I don't think it's healthy. And
Well,
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, like, it's like us when we used to say, yeah, that's bad, and bad meant cool. Like they just
Mhm.
took it to the next level with the toxica. Am I saying it right? Mike just laughs
Yeah.
every time I say
No,
it. But
you're saying it perfectly.
like when people say that, like that used to be a bad thing, but now if I'm playing back in my head any of these toxica Instagram things or anything like that, it is a woman who is like looking a specific way and it's this and that, but it's cute, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of where, and correct me if I'm wrong, Augustine, because you're on right now. Like if that's kind of what you meant, that's how I kind of am reading it. Like, like I can
Like
see that.
I think of that song, "That Girl Is Poison," right? Because
Mm-hmm.
toxica, toxic, poison. So I think it depends on each person. Like I've joked, husband and I joke like I'm toxica, like I'm not, but again, it depends on who you're talking to with one context. Like
Exactly.
if I come up to you and I'm like, "Hey Ashley, hey bitch," like, "Hey, what's
Yeah.
up?" Or if I'm like, "Hey bitch," like, okay,
Ye
now we're ready to
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Like it just depends.
Y
And like um the word toxica, again, it doesn't really bother me. I'm thinking of I don't know if anyone else there is watching Love Island. There's a chick on there, her name's Huda, and she is toxica, but when they talk about her being like toxic, they're like, she's fucking toxic. It's not like, oh, she's a toxica. Like I think it just depends.
yeah.
And I think like that term is maybe a little different from everyone, but I don't know. It doesn't personally really bother me, the term toxica. Maybe
It's
because I
no.
am. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, and it's funny that you said poison, because if you think of the rest of the lyrics of that song, it says, "Never
Yeah.
trust a big butt and a smile." And so I think,
Ah, that's
like, if you
true.
put that and then you look at the toxicas on the Instagram or whatever it is, like, I can put that 2 together, so I get it.
It's a warning
Um,
label. They're doing you a
it's
favor.
a
There's a
warning
warning label
label.
on their ass that says toxica, and if you decide to have a taste, don't get upset when you get poisoned.
Right? And the
I
and the thing and
I
the
also
thing
have a big butt and a smile, so it's you
there you
don't
go.
trust me.
And I
Toxico.
think it just comes down to all of this, this context and how it's said and your inflection and what you're, just like you said, "Hey bitch, what's up?" Or like the way that we talk. I will never say I'm a millennial because I don't claim millennial. I claim Gen X. But the way we talk to each other was horrible. And it was like nothing malicious about it. But like you said, the way that you say it makes a difference. Like you can say one word, you can say bitch like 5 different ways, and it means something different in the way that you're saying it. And I feel like
Mhm.
nowadays, where everybody is texting and having conversations like this, you don't get that hearing of what they're trying to say. And like when you're reading it, you're just like, bitch, what? Wait, what? And I think that's why there's a lot of feelings in everything nowadays, right? Is because you don't have that connection of talking face to face, seeing people face to face. And yeah, so I know we kind
Handmade
of
by Liz said, "I agree." This is over on Instagram. I agree. The term is different depending on how they say it and who it's coming from.
yeah.
Going back to like Toxica, I think my thing with it is whenever you use it as an excuse, right? Like, oh, I treat people
Mhm.
like shit because I'm
I'm
Toxica.
a toxica. Yes.
That to me is like
Yeah.
where it draws the line. If you're saying it in a playful manner, then that's fine, right? Like, okay, cool. Like I say it all the time too, like, oh, I'm an asshole, right? But like if I actually treated people like an asshole, then that would be my entire personality. And like I think that's where the biggest difference for me comes.
That's
Yes,
important
I
when you
agree.
use it
That
as a
was
crutch or an excuse.
perfectly said. Okay, so I'll go back to that one question. Um, but it was clarified that the red flags one, what's a sign that you're not okay and that others might not notice? Um, so yeah, so sometimes it's more so just like getting quiet. I feel like whenever somebody close to you is quiet than normal, or starts to ghost you, or starts to kind of disappear, I feel like that is one that is across the board, might be one of the things. And for some it could be the opposite. They get overly loud, overly boisterous, overly, because they're trying to hide it. For me, if you see me with a lot of makeup on, I'm really feeling like shit.
Oh,
Because
really?
yeah, because it's like I want to look better than I feel. Sometimes also
Mm.
nails being painted. My nails hadn't been painted in a month. And for me, that's one of those things that like I always at least have to have my nails painted. That's one thing I try and do. So I think for everybody it's different. I think the main ones would be if you are close to somebody and you see them pulling away, um, that would be a sign to like reach out. Um, in my opinion, that's what it would be.
I'm trying to think. I guess go ahead, Mike. If you got one, I'm still kind of thinking.
So mine is kind of along the same terms. Like I'm already a naturally like reclusive person. I think I've mentioned this a couple of times. Like even being in radio and like the public light and stuff like that, I'm not an extroverted person. I'm very introverted. It took a lot for me to like become the character that I needed to be whenever it came down to doing like the MC for the event at the pillow fight, right? Like that was 4 hours of me turning up the character as much as you possibly can, right? But for me it's like I get super reclusive and super quiet. And I am blessed and cursed with the fact that I have a very expressful face, and you can see it in my face. Like if I'm angry, these eyes, like my, I know it's a weird thing. People say it all the time, like your eyes change colors. Whenever I'm in a good mood, my eyes are like more amber brown type. You can tell when I'm in a bad mood because them motherfuckers are basically black. It's like
Mhm.
a pupil almost. So for me, it's like there's a big thing that you can see by the expressions on my face and like how I'm acting. If I've got my headphones in and I like normally I'll walk around with just one headphone in, right? If I got both of them in, I don't want to be approached. Like I'm not in the right space right now. I'm just kind of I want to be left alone. And that's my whole thing. Is just like even if it's 10, 15, 20 minutes, just leave me alone. Like that's just what I want at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's just like an episode for me, like if I've just heard something or I'm feeling overwhelmed at a family function, because I grew up like a very small family and my husband's family is huge. So if I'm just feeling overwhelmed and I go and I separate myself, that's probably a sign that I need to decompress. Or if I'm quiet and I hate when people that kind of know me like, are you okay? Because you're so quiet. I'm like, yes, like actually I'm really having a good
Yeah.
time when I'm quiet. But for me, I'm actually like feeling like my mental health is going to be it has not been going well, quote unquote, for a few days. I actually revert back to my self-destructive eating disorder behavior. I'll wear
Mm,
baggier clothes because I always equate it back to my body. Again, I've had an eating
got it.
disorder since I was in high school. So I'll start to track my food more intently. I'll do more cardio, I'll work out, I'll move more, I'll move my legs more because I'm trying to burn more calories. I will avoid going out to eat. I will be journal a lot because I'm trying to figure out, okay, now I'm really going to get
Living.
tough on my body and lose weight, and this is when I'm going to work out, and this is when I'm going to
Mhm.
work, and I want to quit my job so I can focus on working out again. And I think when I start to zero in on that and I start eating very low calorie items, my safe foods is what they call it in the eating disorder world, that my mental health is probably taking a dump.
Okay.
For whatever reason, that's just my go-to.
And I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I get super manic. Like I will
Mhm.
do like I will just stay up all day coming up with ideas, writing, doing whatever it is. Like I've had episodes of me being up for like 100 some odd hours, like just trying to get stuff done. Like it's not stuff that needs to get done, but it's just in my mind, and like my mind won't rest and stuff like that. So like whenever I get really manicky, you'll see me at a restaurant and like I'm trying to eat, but like I got something in my hand while typing on the computer, doing a bunch of other stuff like that. And like I stay busy a lot anyway. So that's when you see me turning up the gas. That's when you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
That, and with that extra caffeine during the day if I'm being manic, and I have to do sleep aids at night.
And for me, I'm the opposite. I retreat. I'll sit in my recliner and I'll have my headphones in with a meditation or whatever. And I am working though. I'm typing it out. I'm trying to figure out what's making me feel this way, or I'm hyper focused on a physical symptom, whether it's my head's been hurting or my body hurts. So yeah, it's different for everybody, y'all. Everybody's going to have different things, and you know, for you yourself, you might be going through something and you don't know exactly what it is. Just try to listen to yourself. Try to listen to your body. Try to sit there and figure out, okay, I am doing more. Take a moment, reset yourself, take a breath, relax. And it's very easy to say and super difficult to do. But once you are able to find that and something like that, then you're able to help yourself in a way. I don't know if I said that right, but
yeah, I tell people to brain dump, journal, like what we talked about. Even if it's
yeah,
5
like what we
minutes,
talked
10
about.
minutes turns into 30 minutes, just doesn't matter. Whatever the fuck's in your head, get it out, pen to paper,
Yep.
not on your texting, and that
Mhm.
helps. Burn it,
Yeah.
And most
read it,
importantly,
whatever you want to do with it.
it's okay to acknowledge it too, right? Like
Yes.
acknowledge
The more
that
that you fight it, and it's the same thing with the anxiety, the more that you fight that feeling, the more that, like, so there's a lot of grounding techniques that they give you in therapy and stuff like that. A lot of them, I didn't know they were grounding techniques. I just would do them on my own. I won't get into them because I am not an expert on that and I don't want to give out information that is wrong. But I will say, um, there are some of them where it's just like slapping your face with cold water and it like stops the feeling. And it is going to stop the feeling because it's hitting your nervous system and it's telling it to like chill out. You're not in danger or whatever. Um but you need to write it out. You need to feel it. The more that you are able to feel the feeling and let your body know that you're okay, the less sensitive to the same thing that you'll be. So yeah, again, I don't like to talk about that stuff because I'm not an expert on it, but I will say try to feel the feeling. It's okay to feel that feeling as long as you know that you're safe. Write it out, talk about it. Talk to somebody, reach out to somebody. Because it is something that is there are things, grounding techniques, and you can look it up. Because there is like really good information on grounding techniques. Again, my whole thing is I want to get you guys information. Some things work for me that might not work for you. But if you guys do want that, I will get some information on grounding techniques and I'll post that. But I'll get it from like a mental health expert and not just me because everything is different for everybody. But yeah, so I got a big question or a good question, and all of them are really good questions, but this one is specifically about narcissists. Like, what is a narcissist? How do you deal with a person like that? And so, narcissist, the definition of a true narcissistic person or narcissistic behavior is a, a pattern of not showing empathy, of having an ego or an idea of themselves that is not true, but that they see it. It's a lot of manipulation. It's a lot of gaslighting. It's a lot of traits, I guess you can say. They're more traits and characteristics. Um, I'm sure we all have been around people who are narcissists in our lives. I think that there is a fine line between somebody actually being a narcissist versus somebody having narcissistic tendencies. Again, I am not a mental health specialist. This is just my opinion, and so I just want to make sure that's out there. Um, I think like everything though, the term gets thrown around, right? And we just kind of blur it and lump it into one thing. Are there narcissists um traits in everybody? I feel like maybe. I don't know if it's the way that a person grows up. Uh Personally, I feel like the environment that you grow up in, you mimic, you tend to get traits off of people that you've grown up around. I feel like in the Hispanic culture specifically, because that's what I know, um, I've seen that, and it's more like of a machismo type of thing. I don't know if that's necessarily narcissistic or not, but
Mhm.
um, yeah. So the question is, what is a narcissist, and how do you deal with them? Um, so I don't know if either of you have any insider information on that.
So I think a true narcissist, because I think we all have some kind of narcissistic traits in us, when
Okay.
it comes to sometimes letting our ego lead, because I think one of the differences is you listen, like say it's a partner and your partner says, "Hey, this bothers me." And you have the emotional maturity to not get defensive and ask, "How can we work on this?" and learn from it. And I think a narcissist would be like, "You're wrong. I'm right. I'm not doing this wrong. Gaslighting you. I never said this." And a true narcissist, it depends on, again, who that connection is in your life. For me personally, if it's a significant other and they are a true narcissist, I would end the relationship. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I became a mom at 20. I'm not working on another child.
Mhm.
So bye, and if it's a coworker, say it's a narcissistic coworker, that one's even more difficult. I have not honest that I know of. I've never dealt with a narcissistic coworker, but I mean, I think a lot of it would have to be standing your ground, repeating your boundaries, keeping, and working on you, I think is the best way to deal with anyone that has toxic traits, whether they're a narcissist or they're a gaslighter or whatever, because when you know who you are and you have that confidence in yourself that you have to
Mm,
work on, then you're less likely to fall for their tricks. You're less likely to be like, well, maybe they did say that, or maybe I am wrong, and maybe you are. But if you're working on yourself, you're going to be able to reflect on that and be like, how can I change? What did I do wrong? And if you have that
mhm,
confidence, I didn't do anything wrong, it's them. Then again, working on yourself, it's always, you can't change other people. But again, if it's a relationship, bye. If it's someone where again, I'm quick to cut off, because I've been through a lot of shit in my life, and I've tried with people, and I've given them second and third and 10 chances. And I'm at the point right now where my girls, that's all that matters, my husband, my purpose, which is helping kids, I don't have time. So
yeah,
I'm real quick to cut off. So,
yeah.
if you're able to cut off a narcissist and they are a true narcissist that doesn't want to work on themselves and they're really affecting you negatively, bye.
I think like I'm the same way. Like again, I grew up. I think Amber and I have a lot of things that kind of mirror each other with this one. Like I grew up in a really big family. We got our ass bit. Like there were times my parents would handcuff us and hit us with a horsewhip, right? And this ain't
Oh my
exaggeration. This is
God.
real life stuff that we had to go through. So I'm real
I'm so
quick to cut
sorry.
people off. And my whole thing is, and I know it's kind of fucked up to say it this way, but like my mom died without me having anything to say to her. If I can let that happen, I can let that happen to anybody, right? Like
Yeah.
that's kind of the way that I feel about things like that. But I also feel like narcissism is situational. You'll see most people become narcissists whenever, because like I agree with Amber again. Like I think all of us have a little bit of narcissism in us, right? Like we have to. It's part of a defense mechanism for most people, right? But I think it's situational. Whenever someone feels super threatened, that's whenever you feel the narcissism come out. It's kind of like the Dunning Kruger effect, right? Like you think you're better at something than what you actually are at that thing. The more you talk about, I'm
Mhm.
the best in the world,
There you go.
or you realize you're not necessarily the best in the world, right? Like there's
Yes.
a whole bunch of that stuff that goes along with that stuff. This is once again going back into my background of psychology, right? Like I have 100 hours of studying psychology under my belt because I wanted to be a psychologist. And to me, it's all situational. Everything is going to deal with a bunch of situational stuff, right? So whenever you talk about a narcissistic coworker, it depends on how that person views you, right? Like if they're a true narcissist, if they view you as a threat, they'll more than likely
Mhm.
aim it a lot more at you than what they would at other people. And we're all the same way, right? Like if I'm feeling narcissistic about something, or if I've got my heels dug in on something, I'm not going to be apologetic. And maybe it's, we call it stubborn, right? Like maybe I'm stubborn with the way that I am with stuff, and that's the way that I try to justify it, right? Like I'm just stubborn. That's the way that I'm going to be. Nah, it's me looking in the mirror saying I might be a little narcissistic with this specific subject, right? So I think narcissism is just all based on situation. Now, once again, it goes down to like the conversation we were having with like toxica and toxicos and all that stuff, right? If you use it as a crutch, if you know that you're a specific way and that you can manipulate people, now you're being a true narcissist. Now you really, once again, with great power comes great responsibility. If you know you can manipulate people, why would you go out there manipulating people? Why would you do those things to people? And I feel like that's where you have to draw like the line with them. And for me, like I'm real quick to call someone on their bullshit. I think you're bullshitting me. I will call you out on it, and I will cut that ass off in a heartbeat. I got no problems with it. Once again, I let my mom die without saying anything to her. I'll let you die without saying nothing to you too. Like I'm the exact same way. So for me, it's like, I know it's messed up, but for me, it helps out my mental health. Like it is a regret of mine. Like maybe I shouldn't have been. Maybe I was the narcissist in this conversation with my mom, right? Like maybe I should have reached out. But every time I reached out, I got burned, and it taught me to be the way that I am. So for me, it's like, it just all depends on situational stuff. I know that's not like an answer that really answers questions to people, but again, all of us internalize and respond to things differently. Like I can never look at Amber and be like, why don't you respond to this the way I do? Well, it's because you're a completely different person than I am. Even if you're my identical twin, you're a completely different person than I am.
Yeah. No, I think
and
that's
then these questions are going to unhealed people, y'all.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're not
exactly.
saying take our advice. You asked, well, how do we handle it?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I wanted to hit on as well. And that's why I say it so many times. We are not professionals. We are literally going through the journey, and you are seeing it firsthand. With me weekly on the shows, fortunate enough to have a network of people and people who I call friends, and Amber and Mike and Grizz and everybody who is trusting me with coming onto the podcast and talking about their journey and sharing their journey, because it's so important that you all see all of us from different backgrounds, from different occupations, from different stages in healing, and that you see that you're not alone and there are people going through it and you can get through it as well. So what I'd like to also say on the narcissistic thing is, I agree with both of what you were saying, and I think that as far as just summarizing it, basically, is you cannot fix somebody who is a narcissist. You cannot fix people, guys. I know that we try to fix people and we want to just help them and we want them to feel better, but until they are ready to do the work themselves, there is no fixing them, and you can only work on yourself. And what Amber said, I feel like is 100%. You have to work on yourself and have that confidence for when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, to know that it is not you, and for it not to affect you in a way where you're taking it to heart and it's affecting your life and how you're moving and flowing and things like that. Narcissists feed off of reactions. They love reactions. So how do you live or work with somebody who is expecting to poke your buttons and to get you to say exactly what they want to hear? Is by reacting big. And so one thing I would say is, don't react. Don't give them the reaction that they want. Be very matter of fact. I feel like I do that a lot. I'm very matter of fact. I don't react. The MAGAs, not to bring politics into it, but to bring politics into it, the MAGA party is huge on reactions and overreactions and big reactions. And so I feel like, yeah, those would be the tips: is get confidence in yourself, work on that, and don't react. I think those are and set boundaries. We've talked a lot about boundaries in different ways, but I feel like it all kind of breaks down in the same thing. You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to set boundaries. You have to protect your peace. Yeah.
There was
And let's
actually a
see.
podcast I was looking up that was really good, and I couldn't remember what he was saying. It's called the Jefferson Fisher podcast, and one of them is called "Outsmarting Narcissists: The Praise or Provoke Trap." But this podcast is really, I mean, I listened to a ton of them. I've gone through a lot of them, like how to speak, how to be more confident in your speaking, and this and that, and that one was a really good podcast if you really want to know how to talk to a narcissist. Like I remember one podcast where how to talk to someone when they're, you know, making jokes at your expense, and they're like, don't take it personally,
Mhm.
and then you tell them, well, don't make it personal. Like, just like he gives you like very pragmatic advice on what to say back or what not to say. So that might be really helpful.
Very pragmatic. I think that's what my thinking is, very pragmatic and just very to the point. I don't, and you know, and I think that not everybody is built like that. I think mine was built on survival mode, and that's just what I had to be, and I had to be able to react in ways and dodge and jump and all of these things with my mind.
You,
So,
Yeah.
you missed a golden
Yeah.
opportunity to be like dodged up, dick, dive, and dodge. Like,
oh god. Hey, that's another Mike, you're on like 3 movies that you've already talked about, bro.
I've exhausted all of my
I
movie
love
knowledge.
All your movie knowledge. But
all
yeah,
3 movies that you've seen.
but yeah, so thank you for that question. I think that it's important, and at some
Mhm.
point what I'll do, because that was brought up, is again I'll bring on a mental health specialist, or I'll speak to somebody and get some information for you guys, because that is something again, um that I feel like more people, I really do think, and it's kind of like this again, and being diagnosed with anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, all of these things, like everybody feels like they have it, but maybe it's just a trait, or maybe it's just the way that they were brought up. Because I see a lot of people say that they have really bad anxiety and they need like a, what do you call it? A dog, an animal, a
Oh, an
service
emotional
pet,
support.
an emotional support. But then they're like at concerts, or they're like doing all of these big things. And it's like, really? I mean, like that shit terrifies me, or the thought of it terrified. Like, so I know anxiety and all of these things are different for everybody, but I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the answers to like the diagnosis and things like that, because I feel like it's important that we understand it. But yeah, it's good.
And I think I always thought about that, like an emotional support animal would actually make me more anxious, because now I'm like, well, how do I tell people not to pet him? Like, it would make
Exactly.
me more anxious. And then there was something I read or saw, it said, instead of framing it like like not if you have an act, like if you're having an actual anxiety attack, it might not work, but if you're anxious about something, be like, I have anxiety about. So make the
Right.
anxiety about the situation, don't internalize it. I'm not anxious,
Exactly.
I have anxiety about this public speaking event I have Friday.
Mhm.
So that, like, starting to
Exactly.
frame it that way can actually help it not be part of you, but of what you're doing.
Exactly. And that's with everything. That's with like
Sure.
everything. You don't want to make it your thing. And I did hear that early on, whenever I finally started getting help and taking those first steps. I was told that, and I think that is excellent advice. Um I have so many more questions, and we're already almost going on 2 hours. So I will what I'll do is I'll post the questions. I'll come up with a post on it, or maybe I'll do them on the next episode at the end, just kind of answer more of these, because I respect y'all's times, and you guys, it's been 2 hours and we could go forever, especially on this topic. But we have been getting pretty good feedback on these lives, which is why we're doing them a little bit more often. Um, so
I mean, I'm down
yeah,
to do
because
another one next week or some whenever, if you want to
yeah,
continue answering.
I think so. I mean, we can because we have, I know my paper is big, but I really do have this many questions. Like we still
Nice.
have a ton of
Oh,
questions.
I thought it was just like one question on each paper. Like I thought that's how bad your eyes were.
No, Mike. But yeah, so I think we can do that. I think we'll do one where it's just only going on the questions. But I did want to say, and get to
Answer a
specific.
question real quick that Augustine
Yeah,
put up.
go for it.
So Augustine
Yeah.
asked, how do you know you have anxiety, or is it just nerves? How do you like make that distinction? How do you differentiate from it? I think we've all had nerves about something, right? Like you kind of feel that in your stomach a little bit. Anxiety is whenever it becomes, at least for me, when it becomes so overwhelming that it like almost becomes paralyzing. Like, and it's the first thing, last thing on your mind the entire time. For me, what it is, it like it feels like it's trying to burst out of my body and I cannot contain it. Like it's just ripping parts of my body apart, right? That's what it feels like whenever I start getting anxiety about certain things, right? So for me, like nerves, I get nervous still doing this stuff. I know I've been doing it for a decade. I still get nervous talking into a microphone, doing all that stuff. All that is breathing techniques. There's easy ways to get by it. With anxiety, there's not an easy way to get by that stuff. Like you don't just start it and then be like, oh, I feel so much better now. It feels almost like you start it and it starts getting worse until you have the finished product of what you want. At least that's the way that it happens with me.
Yeah. So
And I think
exactly. So go ahead, Amber.
I was gonna say, I think with nerves, it's also like the amount of time that you're worried about it. Like if you're having a nerves a day or two before a performance, that's different. If you're anxious, and a big red flag is if you don't even know what you're anxious about, that's probably anxiety. Like I'm anxious about going to the groceries. Like what the fuck, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's break it down real quick because that's a great question, Augustine. So thank you for that. So anxiety and anxiety attacks is going to be something where you feel uneasy. And like Mike said, you kind of feel it building, you feel it brewing, you feel it in the back of your head. You start to feel just kind of weird and often. Like if you've had too much caffeine, you just kind of feel that. A panic attack or panic is when it's already overflowed and you're fucking panic mode. Sometimes you can't breathe, you are tensed up, you can't think, you feel like your chest is on fire, you will maybe get stomach problems. So they're very similar, but you can feel anxious about something and you can feel nervous about something. And again, like Amber said, and like Mike said, it's the amount of time that you are feeling this. Specifically for anxiety, when you're starting to feel something and then you kind of like, well, go wash the dishes, go do this, go squirt your face with cold water, things like that. That's going to stop your anxiety because then your brain's like, what the fuck? Why is my face cold? But if you do that for so many times, you're bound to just have a reaction, which would be a panic attack. And it's your nervous system reacting. Because think about this, guys. When you go on a roller coaster, if you like roller coasters, or when you're driving your Mustang and you've got the top down and you're feeling that air flowing through you and you're feeling excited about it and you're feeling happy, that's the exact same feeling that you're having when you're having a panic attack or an anxiety attack. It's the same feeling. It's the same adrenaline rush. It's the same thing. It's how your brain is processing the information, right? So those are like really different things. While it's the same reaction physically, when you're on a roller coaster, you're expecting to have that. Sorry, it's because I started reading the question on the screen. So when you're having an anxiety attack, it's the same exact feelings, but your brain thinks that it's scary and frightened and whatever it is. So those are the two things that differentiate like the anxious feeling versus a panic attack. When does it become a disorder? I will get back to you with that because again, I've had this since I was 6 years old. I remember my very first panic attacks, being able to give them a name now because I know it, since I was 6 years old. So for me, I don't know when it becomes a diagnosis, and I'll get that answer for you all to be able to put that out there. So yeah, I hope that helped. Augustine, let's see here. How do you make that distinction? Did I answer that a little bit, Augustine? The distinction, the difference
I
between them?
believe he did. So he has one more question here that says, and one more question, what do you feel about the mental health industry just prescribing everything for anything? There's a Netflix documentary on that about how we try to fix everything with a pill, any and everything with a pill. I'll start off with that one. Like that's part of what I get from the VA all the time is like, we'll just
Mhm.
pills at it. We'll just throw pills at it. It's so hard to have the time that you want to dedicate, like as again, like Ashlee and Grizz, we were talking about this last week, talking about therapy, right? I haven't gone to therapy because I just like I've got a mental block with myself. Like I've got to get over that. I know I got to go to therapy. I know it's going to be something that helps me out, but it comes down to that for like people, right? Like I don't like that you get pills for everything. I think I've even said it to you before, Ashlee. Like even whenever I had my knee surgery, I refused to take the oxycodone they gave
Mm-hmm.
me because I was like, I don't want to worry about addiction issues because that runs in my biological family. The same thing with like the pills they gave me the other day for my back issues. They gave me Valium, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to take any of this Valium right now, guys. Like I'll just deal with the back pain until we can figure out what the back pain is. But for the most part, they don't. It comes down to money. The more we just feed you pills and we don't find the point of what's causing your pain or anything like that, the more it comes down to we can make money off of it. At least that's the way that I look at it.
Yeah, and so I actually did have this conversation with a mental health professional. And so for myself personally, I did not do it with medicine. They tried very early on to give me different types of medicine to try to stabilize me. And I think that's why 5 years later I'm still kind of deep in it and kind of barely starting to feel, because I barely year ago found a therapist and got a team together that really cared about my whole body and my brain, and we're making that connection. When I was speaking to this mental health professional, what she was telling me is that basically the way that the medical system is right now, right, which is just a whole nother issue on its own, but you go to different doctors for different things, and not all medical doctors are going to have knowledge of what mental health symptoms are going to be or things like that, which is why it's important to go to specialists who specialize in whether it's psychiatry and things like this. um for me personally, I chose to not do medicine because I was terrified of it. It took me quite some time for me to actually start saying yes to be able to take, and I'll say it, alprazolam, Xanax, right? It took forever, but it was because I was going to the emergency room every other day in full panic mode, and they would just shoot me up with medicine because the emergency room is not equipped for that. It is only to get you to a normal baseline, right? And to be able to get you home so that you can go see your provider. So for me, it took forever. I just got tired of it, which is why I said yes to alprazolam. Now, when they first prescribed it to me, it was like a high dose, and I was like, nope, not going to take it. So then I finally, when I found my providers that I felt comfortable with, they were like, no, start you on the lowest dose. You can take half if you need, you can, whatever it is that you need. And that's something that you work out with your provider. In talking to that mental health specialist that I did speak to, a really great friend of mine, she let me know that meds isn't long term. It shouldn't be long term. It should be for you to stabilize, to be able to get the tools that you need to start your healing process and your healing journey and things like that. Because when you're trying to do it, and this I can speak on, without meds and without knowing this and that, it's just fucking a roller coaster ride all the time. So I agree that overprescribing is a thing. I think that it's important that you go to specialists for mental health, specifically, so that way you get treated properly. Because medical doctors, it's like going to a fucking, you're a woman and you go to a proctologist. They're not going to know what the fuck to do with you. You know what I mean? Like, so I think just finding a specialist and reaching out for help and asking your primary provider, hey, look, I want to go get help. And I don't know, understand insurances or how it works, but the way that I would do it is just call a counseling center or a psychiatry center and say, look, I'm going through these things, and where do I start so that I can get help? And I also do have resources that I'll give here. So I hope that that helped Augustine as well. But I do want to look at that documentary that you put. He said it's called Take Your Pill, Xanax. It's a documentary on Netflix. So I for sure will look that up. But just guys, I want to let you have final thoughts. Amber, I don't know if you want to start.
Oh, final
Any like
thoughts. Well,
final thoughts and for advice, anything that you want to close with?
Well, my first thought is I hope we get back on to do another one of these and, focus again on the questions. I do want to start off with just saying thank you to you, Ashlee, and you, Mike, for being here, allowing me to be here, and for everyone that has tuned in and listened for whatever amount of time and has submitted their questions. I really do appreciate your time. Um, and so my final thoughts is, for me personally, I'm an open book. I had childhood trauma. I had an eating disorder. I've been through domestic abuse, this and that. I've been through a lot. So, and the only reason I'm saying that is because like I said, I'm an open book. So if you have questions about resources or maybe how I might have handled things as a mom, a wife, a radio host, a fitness instructor, a biker, whatever, a child advocate, like feel free to contact me and ask me. But other than that, I would just want to say, like what I told you, Ashlee, with our episode, is sometimes happiness is work. It is listening to the happy music when you don't. It is getting out of your bed. It is brushing your teeth. It is going to work, and it is journaling when you don't want to, and showing up for people, your kids' graduation, or whatever. Sometimes doing those things that you don't want to do. That's what we mean by putting in the work. And sometimes happiness, you have to work at it more, but it gets easier. And so there is light at the end of the tunnel, whatever you're going through.
I guess I would like piggyback on that as well, right? Like no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. There is always someone out there for you, right? Like don't ever feel like you're alone if you need someone to talk to. I had put a thing out there the other day, like I'd rather have your tears on my shoulder than carry your coffin on my shoulder, right? Like
Yeah.
that's 100% the way that I would rather it be. So if you need somebody, I'm not the most emotional person in the world. I'm very much a robot 99% of the time. You want logical answers to your questions, I will more than likely give you that. It's not going to be what you want to hear, it's going to be what you need to hear type of stuff is what I'll give you. But like there are support systems out there, and especially for men, like we need to destigmatize this whole thing about like men don't have mental health issues, like suck it up, do this and that, whatever it is. It's okay to struggle, but you should also go out and seek help. Like if you are in one of those dark places, go out there and seek help. And once again, if you don't want to take the step to go to the doctor right there, call a friend, meet them up, go have a drink or two responsibly, and just talk, get it off your chest. You have support systems that are out there that are for you. You matter, and that's the main thing out there, is that you do matter.
100%. Yes, you guys matter. And for that, I mean, I think that I love doing these lives. I think again, it's kind of growing and we're getting a little bit more engagement and stuff. And so that means that you guys are liking them too. So thank you for continuing to tune in. As far as different resources, I will post these up. I have them on my Instagram page at Talking About It. I do have a slide pinned that has the phone numbers and things like that, but we will have this on as a listening one as well. So NAMI is a support place that you can go to. NAMI, NAMI.org, NAMI.org. We also have the 988 Lifeline. It's a crisis and emotional support call text line. You can text them as well, 988. And locally here in El Paso, we do have mental health support. You can dial 211 from your phone and get connected with somebody that can help you with mental health resources. Also here locally, epstrong.org. It's either EP Strong or El Paso Strong. But they do have a page there as well that can link you to some mental health resources. Again, y'all, thank you for tuning in.
And one more resource, Family Service of El Paso provides mental health resources according to your income. So sometimes it'll be free.
Yes. Thank you, Amber, for putting that in, because I know you just had them on your show. Is that correct?
I'm on the board, and I did have him on my show a month ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you guys make sure you check out Amber's my God, I'm blanking on what it's your show is called. Plug your show, Amber, because you do have really great guests on there that
Oh, the El Paso Public Forum. You can listen
there
on
you
the
go,
free
public
iHeart
forum.
app. El Paso Public Forum. It's our community programming. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, and for sure. And yes, the family services, that is a big one. And I'm hoping to connect with him soon so that way we can get this on as well on here to get you all some of these resources because I know on the previous episode with Grizz, we were talking about the lack of ease in finding resources when it's coming to mental health and stuff. So we definitely will continue to put them out. Also for all y'all, most of you here that are commenting on here on Facebook, no Tip from his show, his morning show. But make sure you tune in to see his show live every day early in the morning at 8 a.m. Mountain time. But you can see him on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Roku. You can see him all over the place. He's all over. But yeah,
Way
so
too many places. Way too many places.
but again, thank you all. Remember that you are definitely not alone. If you need some guidance, if you don't have family close to you that you feel comfortable turning to, reach out to me at Talking About It. I don't do any of this for clout, for clicks, for anything like that to gain anything other than I truly, truly, truly care about getting you all resources and being a place where people can come and talk about their mental health because at a time that I was dealing with things, I didn't have anybody that connected with me or had a show talking about this. And so I talked a little bit earlier about finally giving up my other businesses and solely for focusing on this. And it's because I feel like this is my calling and I might get emotional, but yeah, I feel like it's my calling and I want to help people because I want to be able to not fix you but to show you that you can get through these tough times regardless if you've been through going through things since you were a child or whatever it is, you can get through it. You just need to take those first steps of asking for help and knowing that you need the help. With that, again, all of our new episodes drop on Tuesday mornings. We will continue to do these lives. Thank you all for tuning in and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Oh, Sydney,